Following the video clips, we will display the following statement. We will ask the students to read the statement and then ask the students, what can you do to make yourself a better person? The students will post their answers anonymously through today's Meet. Hopefully, this will make the students honestly reflect on how to improve their character and allow others to see how their peers intend to improve themselves. This is a great time to remind the students that respect is only one of the 6 pillars of character. Although this lesson focused on respect, it is important for the students to realize that respect is not the only factor that determines an individual's character. At this time, the students will take a survey through SurveyMonkey. This survey is designed to get them to self-reflect and to determine their own character strengths and weaknesses. The survey also asks them to reflect on the school culture as a whole and how this culture can improve. The students will be asked to select which pillar needs to be strengthened the most to make the school a better place. Students will then be placed into groups based on which pillar they thought need to be strengthened. Each group will be responsible for creating a video to show why this pillar is important, how this character trait is lacking in the school, and what could be done by teachers or students to strengthen this pillar. WeVideos or iMovies can be used by the students to create their videos. The students should draw from their experiences throughout the lesson to create a visual presentation. This process will not only reinforce the character lesson, but it will also help develop visual literacy skills. We want our students to not only be able to interpret visual images, but also give meaning to images by creating and sharing them. We would also allow students to create an alternative project. Some students may not be as comfortable as others in creating and editing videos. Although we would like to eventually help our students become comfortable with creating motion pictures, we need to understand that some students may not be able to do this without more training. These students can choose to complete a consequence diagram instead of a video. The image below is taken from Moline's text, I See What You Mean. As you can see, a consequence diagram is basically a flowchart that starts with a what-if question. Students come up with possible answers to the question, and each possibility leads to a unique set of consequences. For this assignment, there will be a slight twist. Students will select a story or an event where the main character had to make a choice between making a morally right or a morally wrong decision. The students will then create a consequence diagram showing how their choice affected the outcome of the event or story. The students will create an alternative storyline. In this storyline, the character will make the opposite decision, and the students will create a consequence diagram for this decision. Students will be required to provide a picture for each step, and they will have to present their diagrams to the class. Here's an example of what they could do. What if Marty McFly never picked up the sports almanac? In this example, the students would create a consequence diagram for the actions or the consequences that occurred after he bought the sports almanac. And then they would create an alternative consequence diagram for a series of events that would occur if he never thought to pick up the sports almanac. They could also choose a historical event. For example, what if the man who assassinated Dr. Martin Luther King respected all people? In this, they would create a consequence diagram for the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, and then they would create an alternative story and an alternative consequence diagram for if he was not assassinated. The video and consequence diagrams will allow us to assess what the students have learned about respect and character. These projects will also give us insight on the visual literacy skills our students possess. We can use these projects as a tool to determine the best way to help our students become more visually literate. To conclude the lesson, the students will submit another survey to give us feedback on how they felt the lesson helped them, and feedback on how we can improve the lesson for future students.